Top 10 Netflix Horror Movies. Have you ever watched something extremely terrifying that you can't sleep at night after watching it? Hey guys, welcome to your entertainment channel Netflix Tops, where we tell you about the top-rated movies and series on Netflix. So grab your popcorn and stay with us until the end of the video, because in today's video, we are going to list down the top 10 Netflix horror movies. So let's get started. Number 10. Nominated for the 2021 GLAAD Media Award for Outstanding Film, titled The Craft: Legacy, is a 2020 American supernatural horror film written and directed by Zoe Lister-Jones. The film is a soft reboot and direct sequel to the 1996 movie The Craft. The film had grossed over $2.3 million worldwide and received mixed reviews from critics. The film begins with Lily and her mother Helen, who have moved to a new city to live with Helen's boyfriend Adam and his 3 sons. At her new school, Lily's humiliated by Timmy, an overcompensating jock who turns the unexpected arrival of Lily's period into a class spectacle. The trauma leads to her meeting Tabby, Frankie, and Lourdes, 3 witches who have been desperately searching for the 4th member of their coven. When they realize that Lily is the one they've been waiting for, they instantly welcome her into the fold, and thus a new witchy foursome is complete. But then, a series of unexpected dark, horrific events occur when Lily becomes a witch, and so much more. Number 9. A 2018 American psychological horror film is titled Hereditary, written and directed by Ari Aster in his directorial debut. The film received acclaim from critics, and it made over $80 million on a $10 million budget to become A24's highest-grossing film worldwide. When her mentally ill mother passes away, Annie, her husband, son, and daughter all mourn her loss. The family turns to different means to handle their grief, including Annie and her daughter, both flirting with the supernatural. They each begin to have disturbing, otherworldly experiences linked to the sinister secrets and emotional trauma that have been passed through the generations of their family. Number 8. Based on the 2018 horror fantasy children's book of the same name by J.A. titled Night Books, is a 2021 American dark fantasy film directed by David Yarovsky and written by Mickey Daughtry and Tobias Iakanis. It was released September 15, 2021 on Netflix. The film, based on Alex, who is the creative boy with a strong passion for writing scary stories. But when he's labeled weird and rejected for what he likes, he swears he'll never write again. That's when an evil witch captures him in her magical apartment in New York City and demands that he tell her a new tale every night if he wants to stay alive. Trapped inside with Lenore, the witch's spiteful cat, watching his every move, Alex meets Yasmin, another young prisoner who has learned how to survive the witch's wicked whims. With Yasmin's help, Alex must learn to embrace what makes him unique, his love for scary stories, and rewrite his own destiny to break them free. Number 7. Written by popular English novelist Ramsey Campbell in 1988, titled The Influence, is a 2019 Spanish horror film directed by Dennis Rovira van Boykolt. The story begins with Alicia, who is a nurse, she from the city to her native little town of Dusos, in order to care for Victoria, her aging and dying mother, connected to a life support machine to stay breathing when she fell in a coma 1 month ago. Moving there with her unemployed husband, Mikael, and their daughter Nora. Alicia meets again with her younger sister Sarah, and she meets Anna, Victoria's nurse assistant. At the same time that Alicia tries to reconcile her present with a hard childhood due to the abusive and dominant Victoria, a witch turned crazy after the death of her husband, Alicia and Sarah's father, and she blamed them by it. Miguel finds a job in the port town, and Nora meets a strange little girl, Luna, whose bad behavior and attitude starts to affect her. Suspecting about her own mother despite the coma, the changes in Nora make Alicia to think in an evil plot, with Nora as objective after Victoria named her universal heiress in the will, and especially after to find Victoria's tool to practice witchcraft. Denied to die and looking for a different kind of immortality, Victoria's plan closes around her granddaughter, while Alicia starts a race against time to save Nora before it's too late. Number 6. Based on the 1983 novel Shrine by James Herbert titled The Unholy, is a 2021 American supernatural horror film written, produced, and directed by Evan Spilatopoulos. The film grossed over $30 million worldwide, making one of the most successful movies of all time. The Unholy follows Alice, a young hearing-impaired girl who, after a supposed visitation from the Virgin Mary, is unexpectedly able to hear, speak, and heal the sick. As word spreads, people from near and far flock to witness her miracles. A disgraced journalist hoping to revive his career visits the small New England town to investigate. When terrifying events begin to happen all around, he starts to question if these phenomena are the work of the Virgin Mary or something much more sinister. Number 5. A 2018 American supernatural horror thriller film directed by Diedrich von Rosen and written by Brian Sieve is titled The Possession of Hannah Grace. The film received generally negative reviews from critics, but still grossed $43 million worldwide. A shuttered exorcism spins out of control and claims the life of a young girl. Months later, while working the night shift at the hospital morgue, Megan Reed receives a disfigured corpse. Alone and locked in the corridors of the cold basement, she starts to experience hair-raising visions, which lead her to suspect the dead body delivered that night is possessed by a ruthless evil entity. Number 4. Based on his 2008 Argentine short film of the same name titled Mama, a 2013 supernatural horror film directed and co-written by Andy Muschietti in his directorial debut. The film was a box office success, grossing $146 million against a $15 million budget. On the day that their parents died, sisters Lily and Victoria vanish in the woods, prompting a frantic search by their uncle Lucas and his girlfriend, Annabelle. 5 years later, miraculously, the girls are found alive in a decaying cabin, and Lucas and Annabelle welcome them into their home. But as Annabelle tries to reintroduce the children to a normal life, she finds that someone, or something, still wants to tuck them in at night. Number 3. Based on the 2011 novel of the same name by Adam Neville, The Ritual is a 2017 British horror film directed by David Bruckner. The film follows the story of 4 colleagues who reunite after the tragic death of their friend to hike through the Scandinavian wilderness, but their trip turns into a big nightmare. A group of friends reunite after a long time to plan a vacation, and they finally decide to go on a hiking trip in Sweden. When one of them is injured on the way, they have no choice but to cut through the forest in order to arrive at the lodge a couple of hours sooner. A wrong turn leads them into the mysterious forest of Norse legend, where a storm comes out of nowhere, and during a raging rainstorm, they spend the night in a spooky, abandoned house where an ancient evil exists and stalks them at every turn. After that, what awaits them are things they never expected out of the supposedly bonding trip. Number 2. A 2017 American supernatural horror film written and directed by Frank Calfone is titled Amityville: The Awakening. The film was largely panned by critics, with criticism for its jump scares, horror cliches, and story. When some footage dating back to 1976 is discovered, the case of the haunted house in Amityville is reopened. An ambitious woman who is working as a television news intern seizes the opportunity to advance her career and is soon leading a team of journalists, clergymen, and paranormal researchers into the house. But she may have unwittingly opened a door to the unreal that she will never be able to close. Number 1. A 2021 British horror film directed by Santiago Mangini, from a screenplay by John Croker, is titled No One Gets Out Alive. The film, based on the 2014 novel of the same name by Adam Neville, it was a box office hit and a major hit of its time of release. The film is based on Amber, an undocumented Mexican immigrant. She moves into a rundown Cleveland boarding house after the death of her mother. Desperate and without documentation, soon, odd things start happening to her both at the new boarding house and outside. Then, the unsettling cries and eerie visions begin. Amber begins dreaming about her mother on her deathbed. What is the meaning of her dreams? And are those real dreams? And this brings us to the end of the video. What are your thoughts on today's video? Share with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for amazing movie reviews coming your way. And thank you for watching.